This question number 6 of homework 1 for chapter 2. We're provided with a set of information about basically an income statement. And what's missing is the depreciation expense. So the question is asking about the amount of depreciation. So I want to use two methods to show you how to solve this question. First, I want to use Excel, and I want to use the so-called the goal-seek function to solve one unknown equation. So we start from sales. Just copy the number here. That's my and then costs. So this means I think it's the cost of revenue or cost of goods sold. And then we should have the depreciation, but we don't know this yet. The question is asking about this amount. So then we get the EBIT. EBIT basically is the difference between sales and costs and depreciation. So here, if you just make this to be missing, then this EBIT is just the difference between sales and the costs. So I'm gonna assume an arbitrary number here. Let me just assume 10,000. Obviously, this may not be correct, but I will show you how to get the correct amount based on the goal-seek function. So with the EBIT, and then the next item should be interest. So interest is given, and copy that amount here. Hence, the difference becomes EBT, or taxable income. And that's EBIT minus interest. So eventually, not eventually yet, but taxes are based on the tax rate, 35% times, I should have a equal sign, equals 35% times the EBT. And then the difference becomes the net income. So EBT minus taxes is my net income. So now, the other information provided by the setup is the addition to retained earnings and dividends. So, and these two pieces of information actually can also tell us the amount of net income, right? Because the net income can go into two channels. First one is just dividends, right? Dividends, and so dividends is paid out to the shareholders, and what's remaining after dividends are paid out is the addition to retained earnings. So the sum of these two should be the net income as provided by the setup. So let me write down this. Dividends, that's the 1200. And then we have the addition to retained earnings. That's my 11,150. So now net income. So let me to differentiate between this assumed net income, and this is assumed because the depreciation here is assumed, but other numbers are provided by the setup. So this is, let me use this. This is true. So the true net income is the sum of dividends and addition to retained earnings. So you can see, obviously, this number doesn't equal to the assumed amount. And then I can calculate the difference, right? I can calculate the difference. Or I don't I don't need to calculate the difference. I can just use the net income here and use the go function. To use the go function, I click the data here and then what if analysis, and then the go seek, actually the go seek function, not the go function, go seek function. So here, once I open this go seek function, you can see a number of inputs. First one is the set sale. So this is set the sale to value. Value here should be the true net income, right? Because we want this net income here to be equal to what's given by the setup. So the rule here is that you cannot use a click on a cell to automatically input the value here. You have to actually type it, manually type this in 12,350 here. And then by changing cell, changing which cell? Depreciation. That's what the question is asking us. So we're going to change this until the net income calculated based on the income statement equal to the true net income as provided by the setup based on the information about the dividends and addition to retained earnings. So click OK, and you can see the number changes. Now the depreciation, if depreciation is 7,800 instead of assumed 10,000, you can see the net income will become 12,350, which is exactly equal to the true net income. So just click OK. And now that's the number the question is asking for, 7,800. We can check our work and just make sure we got it right. And yes. So that's the first method I want to show you. The second method is also sort of, just to save you some time, you can just copy the number here. But remember, this number is not known. So I can still copy the number here. So let me use this is method 2, and add one column here, method 1. So method 2 here, everything else is the same. Dividends and addition to retained earnings, we can add this two up, and that's the true net income. But now I want to put this true net income number here because that's what I want it to be. Now these numbers I want to get rid of for now. So I want to copy this number here. I think the reason is because I inputted the formula, so I need to type this actually 12350. Type that number in because that's the true net income. So the second method is just using the basically some algebra or very simple or this multi-ganic algebra, and just go from bottom to the middle. Because normally an income statement we start from the top and then we go all the way down to the bottom line, which is the net income. But here actually we can get net income first, and then we move upward until we can figure out the depreciation amount. So that's the second way. So now with the net income, what are the taxes? Remember, if I use a formula to describe the relationship between net income and taxes, basically taxes equals net income Let me, I think I may have maybe erased this. I don't think this is right. Use a stroke eraser. The relationship should be net income equals EBT minus taxes, right? But taxes is based on EBT. It's based on the EBT multiplied by the tax rate. So I can further write this to be EBT minus EBT times tax rate. So both this term and this term has EBT, so now I can combine them. So this gives EBT. This is a EBT times 1, right, basically. So I combine 1 and tax rate. So this becomes 1 minus the tax rate. So this is basically the relationship between net income and EBT. So we know net income here. So to figure out EBT, we can just divide both sides by the 1 minus tax rate. So EBT is basically net income divided by 1 minus the, let me just use TC, tax rate. So now we can go back to the cell, and you can use a calculator to figure out this very easily too. Just divide net income, the number which is here, 12,350, and by 1 minus tax rate. Tax rate is 35% as provided by the setup. So you can use that, and here I can also use Excel to do the same calculation. So EBT equals net income divided by 1 minus 35%. And then the taxes, obviously that should be the difference between the EBT and net income, right? So that's the tax rate. So I further move up. Interest is provided, right? Interest, I can just copy the number here. Interest is 44,300. So now EBIT basically should be the EBT plus interest. So eventually, because EBIT is the difference between sales cost and the depreciation. So now if I want to figure out the depreciation, I can just write down one formula here. Here what happened is I need to use this relationship between EBIT and sales and cost and the depreciation. So EBIT is sales minus cost minus DP. So then everything else is known, sales, cost, and the EBIT are known, but DP is not. So we can figure out DP by moving it negative DP to the left and then EBIT to the right. So it changes to negative sign. So this becomes DP equals sales minus cost minus EBIT. Again, you can use a calculator to figure out this number very easily. And here I'll just continue using my Excel to finish the last part. So depreciation should equal to sales minus costs and then minus the depreciation, EBIT. So you can see these two numbers, maybe increase this a little bit. The two numbers per as derived based on these two methods are equal to each other, which sort of give us confidence that the number here is right.